Welcome everyone, and in today's video we are going to be comparing this Dell Wyse 3040 to this Google Chromecast for watching and streaming television. Now, just one thing to clarify, I don't think these Chromecasts are for sale anymore, but there are similar alternatives that Google makes. Now, just to clarify, this is £16 and this is £50. They are both passively cooled, but this one, the Dell Wyse, has many more ports, including USB ports for external devices, a headphone jack for if you want to listen to a soundbar instead of straight from your TV, which this does not have, your gigabit Ethernet for faster internet, and more USB ports in your displays. Now these are both very low power draw and very quiet, passively cooled. And yeah, that's basically the overview, so let's go straight into setup and comparison. So for I/O and hardware, we are giving the win to the Dell Wyse. Setting up the Dell Wyse wasn't too simple. We first installed Linux Lite 5.8. Once we got that installed, we then installed Kodi, which we will also later use on the Chromecast, as this is useful to access NextPVR, but it's also a neat solution for Netflix and accessing files on USB sticks. But for the Chromecast, it was as simple as plugging it in and connecting to the Wi-Fi. So for the setup comparison, we are giving the win to the Chromecast. For the first test, we are going to compare YouTube playback. To do this, we are just going to use the browser, as I have been having some problems using YouTube and Kodi. Once we are on the greatest YouTube channel, we can see that 1080p playback is fine, but 1440 there is noticeable errors and 4K just doesn't work. But it doesn't matter, as the Dell Wyse can only output 1080p. Now for the Chromecast, it is obvious that YouTube was the intended purpose of the device, as there is even a button on the remote just for it. This seems to work very well, even on 4K. But like the Dell Wyse, this device can only output 1080p, so either YouTube is very optimized on this Chromecast, or it's actually not using 4K and just 1080p. We have no way to tell. Either 1080-60 is perfect, but there is one big issue, which is there is no easy way to block ads. For this reason, we are giving the win to the Dell Wyse. In the last video, we set up NextPVR. So for the NextPVR on the Dell Wyse, it was not so simple, as for whatever reason the setting to add NextPVR add-on was not present in the web UI, so we had to use some terminal commands to add it, which we will link in the description. Once this was all done, setup was flawless and streaming worked fine for the Chromecast. We simply added Kodi from the App Store, and this could be better. Anyway, the NextPVR add-on was simply available from the web UI, and once configured, worked perfectly. Playback was smooth, and all necessary settings were available. One note is that, for whatever reason, you don't seem to be able to rewind on live TV, only on pre-recorded. I'm not sure whether there's a limitation within Kodi or NextPVR. Either way, it's not deal-breaking, so we are giving the win for NextPVR to the Chromecast, as it was much easier to set up. For the remote comparison, the Chromecast feels like an instant winner, because it comes with a very nice feeling and ergonomic remote, with all the buttons you need to control the Chromecast, and TV, Google. And Google TV knew that the Chromecast is likely to be used behind TV, so the remote does not use IR like a traditional remote, but instead it uses RF, which means you do not need to point it at the Chromecast or have a line of sight. Despite this, the Chromecast barely supports keyboard and mice for light or retro gaming, and while you can connect a controller, the support is hit and miss. On the other hand, the Dell Wyse is infinitely customizable. You can connect a keyboard or mouse or a controller over Bluetooth, dongle, or use an Arduino or adapter to interface it with an IR remote. For this reason, we are going to put it as a draw. Now, for the final category, usability. Overall, I think that the Chromecast is way better for people that just don't know much about computers, like grandmas. They just buy it to turn their normal TV they bought into something that can watch YouTube and Netflix. So for that, I'm going to have to give 1 point to the Chromecast for usability. However, once you've got everything set up on the Dell Wyse, you can customize it to how you like. The USB ports also have an advantage, as it makes the device much more versatile. So overall, I think I'm going to switch to this Dell Wyse because of ads on the Chromecast and a lack of good retro emulation on it as well. But for the average person, I think the Chromecast would be decent. And that's that. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.